Hi, everyone.
Hello.
By default, everyone's on mute for now, but feel free to turn your mics on, introduce yourself while we're waiting for the rest of the audience to join. Okay, let's give everybody a couple of more minutes. So while we are waiting, I think we might as well use this time to try and introduce everybody, understand what you do, and also allows us to actually understand what you're actually looking for in terms of how we can help. Also, let me just open the room up because a lot of people are actually in the waiting area. Okay, so I have myself, Nitin Agarwal. I'm the founder for the Property Deals Insight. I've got my colleagues Rishi and Sanjay. Guys, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yep. So my name is Rishi. I am part of the operations and business team here at Property Deals Insight. I also speak to clients every day too. And I'll be here to take on any questions that you guys may have throughout the presentation. Me and Sanjay will help you guys with that. So if you just write them in the chat box below, we will respond to them as fast and as best as possible. So yeah, just enjoy the presentation.
Okay.
Hi everyone, my name is Sanjay. I'm a business analyst and IT tester here at Property Deals Insight. I work closely with the development side of the team. We're constantly improving the software, our software over on our website constantly on a day-to-day basis. And yeah, hope you guys enjoy the presentation.
Thank you. So I think I just wanted to make sure everyone gets a couple of minutes and then we can crack on. I can see Ajay. Ajay, if you can unmute yourself now, and would you like to share a little bit about yourself, and tell us whether you're an investor or you're actually a property business?
Yeah, well, I've been in the game a few years now, so I started off obviously just the standard buy-to-let process. So I got a few properties of my own. I manage a few, so I kind of got a lettings agency, and I do small developments. So looking for development opportunities at the moment. So yeah, so I've been in the game about 20 years now. So fair bit of experience. Used to do a lot of networking. So I've been in lots of kind of all the big networking groups, pretty much know a lot of people in each of those networks. So yeah.
Fair enough. Cool. That's quite good to know. Anyone else want to share about themselves before we crack on? By the way, everyone's on mute, so feel free to unmute yourself if you wanted to.
Hi, can you hear me? Sorry.
Yes, we can.
Sorry. Sorry, just doing a bit of work in the background. So I'm an architect by trade, but we're starting to get a lot of clients that come to us looking for sites and developments and properties and stuff. So we've started sort of sourcing stuff ourselves, but we're always sort of looking for ways to try and find properties for clients that we're working with. this ranges sort of from sort of refurbishment properties, flips and stuff, up to development opportunities up to sort of 30, 50 homes kind of thing. So it's sort of a broad range.
Okay, good. That's very good. Cool. Thanks for sharing that. I can see people are still joining in. I think they've had a couple of pings. Typical of whenever you're doing a webinar, people are always pinging saying we can't get in. That's all the teething problems. As they say, technology is great when it works. So yeah, hopefully people can get in. By the way, guys, today's session is being recorded, and we will be making it available to the participants again as well. So hopefully no one's got any objections to that. Right, cool. Right, I think what I will do is I'll try and I'll run a small quick presentation. And I'm happy for you guys to type in your questions in the chat, and we will have enough time towards the end for Q&A. And I'm also going to be able to do a little bit of a demo for some of the features which may be of interest to people. And so far the numbers are low, so which will allow us to have a more of a one-to-one chat. That should obviously work in our favor. So if everyone's happy, I'll be sharing my screen and clicking it off. So yeah, I think for now, if everyone can go on mute, and then we can feel free to, like, if there is a burning question, I'm happy to take on that. Otherwise, we can take some of these questions at the end. All right. Okay. Just wanted to make sure you're looking at the right screen. I've got two screens, so I'm hoping you've got the main presentation screen on. Okay.
Yep.
Cool. All right, cool. So welcome again, everyone. Today's session is about how to find, analyze, and package your property investments. And I am Nitin Agrawal, founder and CEO of Property Deals Insight. So today we wanted to cover some of these basic questions which every investor finds themselves asking, and how technology can actually help with some of these challenges. I'll begin with the famous quote from the famous US president around: real estate cannot be lost or stolen, nor can it be taken away. Purchase with common sense, paid for in full, and managed with reasonable care. It's the safest investment in the world. And I think this is something which I quite resonate with, and the fact that you guys are on this session, I believe most of us would agree that we all believe in property as an asset and an investment. It's one of the best investment which we can make. Okay, so I begin the presentation with a little bit of background about myself. Why should you be bothered to be listening to me? So I come from a technology background. I grew up in India, moved to the UK about 12, 13 years ago. Initially came in for a corporate role, started my journey as a property investor, and basically bought my first home, first property within the UK, within 12 months of me landing in the UK. A lot of people at that time said this was a pretty brave move, considering I was still on a visa, but I just didn't want to be paying anybody else's mortgage. And I just thought, okay, I want to be buying my first home. And in terms of professionally, I come from a background where I come from leading some of the largest tier 1 programs across the world. Very recently, I found myself leading the strategy of what would be the future of the entire UK's payment industry, wherein I had to lead the initiative which changes the way we do payments in the entire world. well, in the entire country, especially. And I've spoke to or dealt with the Bank of England, all the major banks, your fintechs, and anybody and everybody who dealt with payments. So essentially, which was pretty much all the organizations. That program was massive. I mean, it's a once in a lifetime kind of program which happens every 50, 60 years, so truly changing the way things happen. So, I mean, I've been doing that for over 2 decades now. So been kind of doing industry lead programs, and the fact that I was always interested in property, I just wanted to do bring my passion together, which is kind of where Property Deals Insight came about. So one of the reasons why I started off Property Deals Insight, I was saying earlier, I mean, when I came to the UK, I bought my first property within 12 months. It was a simple 1-bedroom flat, but I just didn't want to be paying somebody else's mortgage. Decided to go for that. As soon as we moved to that property, I found out that we were expecting our first child within first couple of days of moving to the property. And we were like, okay, soon enough, we found ourselves looking for a larger property. And within the next couple of years or so, we moved into our now family home, which was a 5-bedroom property. So it was a bit of a jump from a 1-bed flat to a 5-bed house. However, what I found out was I managed to pay off most of my down payment from the equity that I managed to release from my small 1-bed flat. And that's when I really got interested into property, where I thought, okay, fine, I mean, this is great. You can actually leverage money, and my smaller flat could actually pay for my large family house, and without even selling the property. So essentially, that's how I became an accidental landlord. And a lot of people start. Then soon I found, after that, I started going into a lot of property forums, attended some courses and investor shows, etc. Read a lot about it, tried to analyze how things happen, etc. And I always believe in trying to find ways of doing things more efficiently. So however, what I found myself doing was every single time I was looking for a new investment, whether it's a buy to let, whether it's an HMO or rent to rent, recently development projects, etc. It was always a bit of a challenge trying to do the due diligence. It was always like, okay, I've got the money and I want to buy the property, but then you're almost struggling to put together all the information for weeks and months. And then if you're also doing another day job alongside, then it's not an easy task. So I try and look for a solution for this, because I always just want to find an easy way to do things, or more efficient, I should say, to do things. And this is where I was quite startled that given the day and age we live in, there wasn't really a true solution for something. And that I looked at some stuff here and there. You've got the portals in one area, but then you've got bits and bobs here and there, but there was nothing really which actually solved what I needed. So which is essentially where I thought, okay, fine, given my background, I decided to take it in my own hands, and I actually kicked off Property Deals Insight, which originally was my own back pocket utility for finding my deals easier. But over the years, I just kind of realized actually this was something which everybody was facing in the industry. Most people found themselves in this, whether they are seasoned investors or even kind of people starting in the property industry. It truly has to be a change in the prop tech world, where technology, I mean, to be honest, we're kind of quite dated given how big the UK market is, and in terms of what technology we have, we're still way behind a number of other countries, and that's where we kicked off Property Deals Insight, which offers an incredible new online platform, providing you the ability to make smart decisions powered by data, and making life simple so people don't have to be doing the hard work as we do that for them. Also, we do offer property data APIs and zero code plug and play sort of widgets, which help other businesses with their businesses and how they can expand. I'll come to that point in a bit. But we do offer quite a bit. I mean, this slide is just a little bit of a overview of what we do. You can actually, we have over 27 million UK homes in our system, which allows us to provide in-depth insights. We integrate with a number of on-market and off-market sources, so which allows us to show deals, heat maps, instant valuation, cash flow analysis, reports, etc. So just gives a bit of an insight on what we do. But I just wanted to start with that, and wanted to move back into the key topics of the agenda, which was always the first question in everybody's mind, anybody who's looking to invest, is finding good deals, because everybody wants to be finding good deals. And when you say good deal, it's the other question is what makes a good deal? What makes a good investment for me might be different to what a good investment for somebody else, really. It also depends on why you got into property, whether you're trying to create a passive stream of income or you're actually trying to replace your main income. So it all depends on what is it that you're actually trying to go from or find from a property investment. And that one strategy which works for somebody who's looking for yield, it may not be the same for somebody who's actually looking for capital growth or appreciation, as they call it. And then even like where you find these deals would be slightly different or quite different, because over the years, London's been great for capital appreciation. However, we haven't been that great for yield. Obviously, recently, some of these things have changed. But ultimately, whatever your strategy is, it's quite important that we have the right, we know what we're actually trying to go for, and have the right way of approaching things. And typically what most people do is going to be, you go on the big portals, look for that, register with their local agents, and or work with other sourcing agents or property networks. And there's nothing wrong with any of that, obviously. That's kind of something which everybody does. But in terms of, I wanted to actually come up with something which would help me fast track some of this. And that's where, I mean, obviously, whatever your strategy, I think location is the key. Whether you are looking for the highest growing areas, whether you're looking for places where you can actually find or expect the most yield, whether it's actually identifying which are the most expensive or cheapest areas and what kind of rents to expect. So we created something called property heat maps, and as the name suggests, basically allows you to look for areas which are red hot in terms of whether it's appreciation, whether it's yield, or also identify areas which basically are the worst ones, for instance. So it's always good to have your expectations right. So this allows you to identify or narrow down which areas we want to be focusing on. For people who don't like interactive maps, this also shows up in a nice tabular format, so you can actually see whether, or you can even sort by like whatever your strategy is, whether you go for 1 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms, a larger family homes, etc., and which areas are doing well in that, and you can search or filter by that. And this is something which we try to use, and a number of developers are also using it, and even for people who are early on in the property journey, they can actually start use this, which kind of provides them information from the live market feeds, giving them an idea of where to actually be looking for, so you know which areas, where do you start. Because a lot of times, if you are like me, people are thrown with a lot of questions, and when they say, I want to be investing into property, people just don't know. I mean, like people say, okay, what do you want to do? Do you want to do appreciation? Do you want to go for yield? And honestly, when someone is looking to invest in property, most of the time the answer is, I just want to make money. And yeah, you don't know where to start, etc. So this I thought, and the feedback that you get is quite useful for people who actually want to be starting off. And even for property consultants, they are actually using some of this data to help with their or assist with their reports, etc., depending on however you actually operate. Okay, so let's say once we have identified the area, or if you already knew which areas you want to be focusing on, the next question is ultimately, let's find some deals. How do you find the perfect deal? And again, as we said earlier, finding a perfect deal depends on what a perfect deal is, what strategy you use. A lot of people pay tens of thousands in courses where they basically go and talk about various strategies, etc. But not all of them are bad, basically. But yeah, there are a lot of courses which a lot of people end up coming back and thinking, not sure what I paid for. So we just wanted to make it simple. We wanted to be actually simplifying some things, and or even if it is actually, if you have been doing some decent property education, it's always good to be having the tools to actually be able to apply that. And we basically, what we did was we reverse engineered the whole process of how you look for deals. And we have created aggregation, which basically allows us to hook into industry sources where we pull all the information from on-market and off-market sources. And we have clubbed them into different sourcing strategies. At the moment, there are about 15 of them. We keep adding new strategies. Some of the popular ones are biggest bargains, refurb, refinance, rent to rent, auction deals, etc. And which allows you to simply click a button and it shows you all the properties in that area, which are also showing you the returns of what you can make. But I mean, you also get these deals from other places. A lot of times people receive texts saying, oh, I've got a deal, and how do you know if it's a good deal or a bad deal, right? And people do claim I've got below market value property, 40% below market value, DM me now or lose, etc. So you can actually find yourself with that. Sometimes they may actually be genuinely good deals, in which case they are not going to be there for very long. In other cases, they may not be as good as they've been shared to you for. And how do you actually figure out which one is a good or a bad deal? So there has to be some quick way to be able to analyze it, because if you start your analysis manually, then you're possibly going to be spending hours or days or weeks, basically, depending on what your expertise level is. And we just wanted to build something which allows you to quickly analyze all of these. What you don't want to do is, property is generally one of your most expensive investment in a way for most people. And what you don't want is it to be the most expensive mistake you ever make. So it shouldn't be a case of a chance. You shouldn't be investing in property just because, oh, let's take a chance. A lot of people say things like it's bricks and mortar, it will always go up, so go for it. But why should you be paying more than what a certain property should be? Which is kind of where brings to the topic of deal analysis, right? How do you analyze a certain property? I mean, if you have a property, whether it's something which you've sourced yourself or somebody has shared it with you, it's quite important that you are able to do your deal analysis. A lot of people surprisingly actually still don't know how to do deal analysis. Be surprised to actually say how many people are still doing this manually or relying on information which has been shared or unreliable data. Even there are people use templates, which is not a bad thing in terms of Excel sheet, at least it's helping them with some analysis. But it's not just about like offline data, right? So you need to be able to tell what should be the right value of a property, how much returns can I get in any area of the country, what's my ROI going to be, what are the local area stats like, what are the properties going for, and doing your cash flow and cost breakdown, etc. So one of the key things in order to be able to in order to be able to make an offer when you have been given a deal is, how do you know what's the right value of the property? So how do you check what is the fair value of a property? One option is you can hire a surveyor, but if you're like me, who kind of looks at hundreds of properties before finalizing on something, you're possibly going to be spending a lot of money trying to get these surveyors. So you don't want to be doing that unless you're later in the day. or you can actually be asking a friend, taking a guess. I don't think we would suggest that that's a very wise strategy. And then the other options is you end up paying whatever they want, or you risk losing out. Then recently, a lot of people have started looking at automated valuations, and they have been becoming quite popular, being used by most of the top UK lenders. So if it's good for them, so surely there's got to be some merit to it. However, it's also, again, another thing where you have a lot of so-called valuation models, which are nothing but a lead magnet. So basically, they don't really give you much information. I've seen some which will give you a property valuation estimate of, let's say, 750,000, and the range they give you is like 250,000 and then 1,500, which is like, seriously, you can't really call that as a valuation estimate, because all you've done is just captured my details and not really given me the information which we need. So I think it's quite important to be able to get full valuation appraisals, which basically is powered by with millions of data points, where you can actually check how much the other properties are selling in the area, what's the price per meter square in this area, what are the other comparables for rental, for sale, and something which actually empowers the users to make the decision. It's not so much about the system said it's worth 500k, so it's worth 500k. It should also give you the power where you can actually say, yeah, I can now see everything right in front of me. And yes, I agree with this report, or no, I don't agree for so-and-so reason, my property is unique. So it needs to be a bit of both. So yes, the system does all the hard work where basically, I mean, we've got a valuation engine. We have our own proprietary valuation engine. And we are also in some of the awards for shortlist in a couple of days now, actually. So we are in the Negotiator Awards, Supplier of the Year Awards. It's being looked upon by a number of estate agents, by some lender and mortgage intermediaries, etc. as well. And all of our customers are actually benefiting from the valuation model which we have, and the valuation reports which we produce. So that obviously allows us people to be able to instantly get the valuation report in a few seconds. And it's not just the valuation report, as I said, which we provide. In order for you to tell whether it's a good deal or not, you also want to be looking at all your other analysis. What are your costs going to be? What is your ROI going to be? And what's your cash flow, yield, etc. And with investors, obviously, you are looking at different strategies. Not everybody is looking at buy to let. You might be actually looking to flip it. You might be actually looking at the rent-to-rent analysis, or whether it's service accommodation or HMOs. And more recently, we've also added development appraisals into our analysis, because one of our customers, they were a sourcing company looking to get into multi-unit developments, etc. So they requested a feature, so we basically extended our offering to also include that. But at the end of the day, the point is, whenever you're looking at any property investment, you want to make sure you've got your full analysis, which is powered by real data from trusted data sources. And it's a combination of your Excel sheets, your mortgage interest calculators, your stamp duty, etc., taxation stuff. Then what are your local rents, local values, etc. So it needs to be something which puts it all together, and that's kind of very, very important. And this isn't something which is a problem. A lot of people think, oh, we do this for a long time, but ultimately, how much time do you spend on it? Who is involved in all of that? And does it work throughout the country, or is it actually something which you have to be limiting yourself for a local property, etc., or the areas which you know? And what if you are actually supposed to share this investment with your partner, or even with if you're a property business? How do you package your deals effectively? So if I'm trying to share with an investor, how do I make sure that the investors get what they wanted to see? Like I said earlier, avoid saying I have a deal text message without any information. So Because there's so much money out there with people looking to invest, and there are so many deals out there. However, still people are actually put off. So what stops you from making an investment? What stops an investor actually going ahead with it? I think it's just that they haven't got the visibility, they haven't got the clarity on whether or not they can trust. How do you stand out from other cowboys? How can we make it possible to share the deals professionally without having to be spending forever trying to put it together? Obviously, if it's backed by real data, that's what you want to be doing, which helps gain the investor trust and build the loyalty. So they obviously want to be coming to you every time there's an investment. And whether this is, say, sent to an investor, whether you're doing a JV, whether it's actually sending it to your own partner, etc. So ultimately, it helps if you could actually use tech in some of these ways. This is where we actually extended our offerings to provide branded deal packs and reports. So we've been doing reports for a long time, but recently a lot of businesses, small businesses who did not have the technology, who did not have did not want to be breaking the bank to build their own solutions. Our system is now started to act as their own back office, where they can actually key in their details, whether it's their own property or whether they're trying to source it, and actually generate reports which can be branded with their logos. And there are a number of different clients of ours where they've been using these, whether it's valuation reports, local analysis, rent reports, development appraisals, as I said. And I'm going to show you some of these towards the end to allow you to actually look at that. And so I think that would be a good thing for us to look at. So basically what we are all about is having technology to help what you do. It's not about trying to say technology will replace how people value property, or it's trying to replace what, let's say, sources do or something. I think that's the completely wrong way of looking at it. It's actually, how can it help you with the business function which you're doing? How can it be more productive? I mean, some of the companies or small businesses, no longer small anymore, actually, they've been using our product and building their models around it. Whether you use us or anything else, I don't really mind. It's all about making sure people can do their due diligence effectively, can do it the right way. And how do you cut down months? I mean, some of the stats which we ran with investors or even sources, etc., where they spend months doing the research and or even weeks, depending on how good some of your existing solutions are. But how do you cut down all of that down to minutes, or let's say, even if you were to reduce all of that by 80%, then how much time and money will that save you? Can it allow you to do a lot more deals? Can it allow you to free up some time? What you do with that time is obviously up to you, but it actually allows you to use technology with some of that decision making. Just an example, actually, we have one of our I have one of our customers. When they first found out about us, they're on a big portfolio in here. They had about 32 offshore employees, just looking at all the portals, going through every property out there, trying to run some numbers on some Excel sheets, etc., finding them properties, and they were doing quite well. I mean, they have over 800 properties in the UK which are being run as a portfolio for them, and they continue to buy more and more. So, and then the guy came in, he said, okay, this looks great, and they basically started using our platform, cut down all of that staff from 32 to 4 people, and they're actually doing a lot more property purchases and sales using the time saving it's giving them. Ultimately, we're not saying trying to get rid of people. We're saying, why don't you make use of those people into some other thing which can actually help with your growth? And how do you stay ahead of everybody? How do you improve your deal closure? That's essentially the bottom line in terms of what we're trying to do. Some of these are testimonials from our customers where we help build, like I said earlier, these were the guys we actually built the development appraisal, GDV appraisal component for, and also new age sourcing. They're also a very important client of ours. Some of you might have also come across them. They are quite big on rent to rent, and we've been in discussions with them for over a year, and they've been quite fundamental in like what we offer in terms of our rent to rent strategy. So we are always interested to listen to other businesses and customers, what they actually want, and we are always enhancing our offering going forward. Yeah, so I think this provides a little bit of an idea of what some of the things we are doing. I've just got a message from somebody saying they'd like to see some of these things actually on the platform. So I think I might actually at this point jump on to share a little bit about things. Yeah, sorry, just checking out, making sure we haven't left people hanging out there. Fair enough. Cool. Yeah, so this is our platform. What we, as I showed all of this, so we have solutions for property businesses and investors. I think most people on this call would be either property investors or I'm assuming sources or property consultants. So that's kind of what the key focus and key for what we're going to be sharing today. Although we do have solutions for other prop techs, estate agents, lenders, surveyors, etc. So if there's anything which actually interests you, feel free to ask as well. So we do offer like an online portal, so you can actually jump in, log in. Okay, so that's how it looks. It shows the 4 key features I talked about: the hotspots, deal finder, which is quite popular because everybody wants to be finding deals, instant property valuations, and generation of deal packs. Okay, so yeah, so this is our heat map offering, which basically shows you various price trends. So if I jump to this UK house price trends and heat maps, as you see, this is basically allowing you to be looking at which areas have been doing well over 3 years, over 5 years. So you can actually look at different analyses, as in long-term view, short-term view, and it's quite interactive, where it actually allows you to filter out with how much growth the area has seen. So quite often, obviously, people go for the highest growth areas, but they might be a bit too far for you to be able to invest in. So you can always look at areas which are closer to you as well. But if location isn't a concern for you, so then of course it allows you to narrow down, and you can zoom in and zoom out of this. So it's quite interactive. But like I said, if you are not somebody who likes interactive maps, it's plain and simple tabular format as well, where you can actually have the same information presented in a nice table. You can filter out or sort by which are the best performing areas over 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. So it kind of gives you an idea of where you want to be focusing on. Yeah, so this is the price trends information. The same thing we also do using yield heat maps, etc. So you can actually identify areas where you've got the best performing rental properties. And that's kind of something which very similar graphical layout. However, in this case, it's actually showing you areas which are high areas, so about 8 to 10%. Unsurprisingly, London doesn't seem to be showing many properties in there. And you can also find this by number of bedrooms as well. So we've actually, because different people have different strategies, they might look at flats or family homes, etc. And you can even filter and search. So if I was to look for Liverpool, for instance, so yeah, you can actually say how Liverpool is performing. Same thing for Manchester, etc. So it can actually quickly show you some of these numbers, or if you're actually looking for overall analysis, then you can actually use this table as well. We also, I've seen on a number of forums, a lot of people are asking where are the cheapest properties, etc., etc. So you can also use this for that purpose as well. We have a sales heat map which shows you the asking price trends across the country, where you can actually see, unsurprisingly, London areas at the top of the tree. But you can actually look at the cheapest or most expensive areas, etc., as well. So I haven't even sometimes heard about some of the towns which are kind of showing as the best areas to invest, etc., as per the tools. And this is backed by real data. So what that gives is, I mean, obviously everybody knows about like your typical property hotspots, or areas which are very popular, but these are generally speaking, these are areas where everybody's already made their money. So you can obviously either follow the crowd, or you actually want to be coming up, stay ahead of everybody else, or you can actually figure out which areas can you really go for finding the right deals. So again, it all depends on how you want to approach things, but the tool allows you to be able to find that analysis. Or if you wanted to actually look at a certain city or town, you can. We've also got this analysis for which property, like what are the average prices for houses, flats, etc., etc. So that also allows you to aid your decision making. Again, the same filtering and sorting you can actually do with that. So I don't want to be boring everybody. This area is completely free to use, so feel free to actually play around with that, find which areas work for you. And same thing for rental, so I'll skip that part. I don't want to spend too long on some of this. You can actually explore it. So like you said, if you have identified which areas you want to find, you can actually go to the deal finder part of the product. You don't have to follow a certain sequence, by the way. I'm just trying to do this so you can always jump from whichever part is actually interesting for you. So research hotspots are more or less your macro level information about property areas. Once you know which areas you're looking for, whether it's close to your home or a certain property location which you've identified using the heat maps, you can simply come to Deal Finder, which is a very, very popular area for our product. What we do in Deal Finder is, unsurprisingly, help you find deals. So, which basically is all about people coming in, keying in some details. Let's say pick one of the most popular strategies, which is buy, refurb, where you can come in here, key in some details. Let's just put London, and it shows you the option to add minimum or maximum values. You can actually specify property type and the search radius. So this isn't, by the way, a replacement for your Rightmove or Zoopla. If you're looking for property down your mum's home sort of thing, it's not really the right use of this. It's more about, I'm an investor, I want to be investing in and around London area within the 5-10 mile radius. What can I find? So what we do is you can actually search and find these deals. And what the system does is it looks for live market information. It pulls all of this together. And even before you actually have to open some of these, obviously this is London list, so the yields are not going to be your very high yields, but yeah, there are some which you can actually find which are quite high yielding properties in and around London area. So what this does is, without having to open every single property out there, running the numbers yourself, you can actually literally just see, and then again you can filter, sort all of these. You can search and add some more filters if you wanted to add, and open up any of them which seem to be interesting for you. So let's just pick any example. This allows you to get further deal insights for this property. So without actually having to enter anything, you can see the deal analysis for this property. What we have is we basically provide a buy-to-let analysis in this case for this property, wherein you can see how much it's the asking price. If you are to offer the asking price, then what would be your initial investment? What would be the monthly in and out? What's your gross rental yield will be? What's going to be your yearly cash flow? And this is quite an interactive report which you get. You can actually change the offer. So what if you are able to negotiate it down? Does it actually, and it changes all those numbers instantly. So it shows you how it changes your cash flow, how much down payment you want to be making. So as I said earlier, it's a combination of calculators, your algorithms which actually give you local analysis. So it gives you the local rentals, what would be your repayment or interest only mortgage value. So you can actually do that, change the numbers and see if it's a repayment mortgage. This turns into a negative cash flow. So surely you don't want to be going for this as an investment property on a repayment anyways. And it also allows you to put in things like what are the refurbishment costs, etc. So if you are looking to do some work onto this property, let's say that would cost you 20,000. What your mortgage fees is, so it's pre-populated with some common typical values. However, if you think some of these values need to be changed, then you can change that. It takes into account quite a lot of things like cleaning costs or annual costs in terms of your maintenance, whether it takes into account your void periods, miscellaneous expenses, insurances, property management, etc. So if you are not using property management, then you can make it 0. So it shows your yearly cash flow increases. So this basically allows you the ability to actually generate your deal analysis straight away, and shows you your cash flow analysis in terms of how long will it take to get your money out from the deal over the years, how much cash is remaining. And this is only doing it based on your typical without even actually factoring in refinance, etc. And you can also compare this with any other area. So if you wanted to actually perform like an area analysis, well, let's just say City of London, how does it compare with the rest of the area? And this actually is not just all. You can generate this as a shareable link, which can be looked upon by anybody. I'm going to chuck this link in the chat for you guys to actually be able to look at. So whether or not you're actually logged into the system, this allows you to open up the analysis on your side, and you can generate PDF reports for this or that. So that's kind of the deal finder part of it, and you can do it for a number of different analyses. I mean, you can actually look for other areas, whether you're looking for auction deals, etc., repossessions, short lease, whatever your strategy is. It actually allows you to see all those deals and quite quickly. Let's just put in another area and look for auction deals in that side of the country. So this will show you all of the properties in the auction category, which may be a strategy which a lot of people use. So quite unsurprisingly, the yields are much higher in Manchester, for instance. And the same thing is actually done without you having to be spending time or wasting time on that. Yeah, and I think one other part which is I wanted to show was if you have a property or a project which you're looking at, so you can actually generate fully comprehensive reports on the platform. You can actually see the sample report, or even actually, I don't mind doing a live one for you because there's nothing like an actual live demo. So if the system actually automatically tells you what the internal floor area of a property is. A lot of times people actually don't even know that, and you want to be looking at that. You can actually entering all the key details of a property, how many bedrooms, etc. it is, reception, etc. So whatever information you have about the property, you fill in that. More details you provide, whether you're actually looking at a rundown property, whether you're looking at an excellent condition property, does it come with a garage, etc. How many parking spaces it comes. So all these features which allow you to actually get the how do you actually differentiate a property from, let's say, the neighboring property? What makes it better or worse? So that's something which you can actually key in here, and it quickly shows you the valuation for that property, which basically again gives you the valuation range, shows you the price per meter square. So it's a quite an enhanced in-depth analysis which we provide. It's our own proprietary algorithms. It gives you the valuation confidence level, how many properties of the same type in the same region it has managed to find. It's not trying to compare apples and oranges. It's basically trying to do a like-for-like comparison for that, and goes in quite a lot of detail. It shows you the rental analysis as well. You can actually, without having to then dig all this information from elsewhere, get the local comparables, what else is on the market today. So it actually has the link, so you can simply go to portals directly from here. So this takes you to Zoopla on the actual listings. You don't have to be putting it together to be able to do that. The same thing for rentals. So you can actually pull that all of the rental analysis instantly. You can see the sales prices, and we actually combine data from different data sources, allowing us to give the price per meter square values for these properties, which basically helps in negotiations a lot. A number of clients have managed to knock off tens of thousands by even after agreeing a certain price. And yeah, so the cash flow analysis, which we showed, we also provide that for all of the properties, which is quite big on. So you can actually look at that. If you wanted to look at flipping a certain property, you can actually key in the details here, put in your bridging finance, etc. costs in here, what your anticipating closing costs, etc. are, and it gives you an ability to find the ROI on a flipping project. And one other important part is if you are doing this as a business and sharing it with others, you might want to be adding your own branding to it as a business. So that obviously gives you a better reach. So it allows you to actually convert these valuation reports into PDFs. I was looking at a development appraisal just before we kicked off. So this is another similar report which you can actually get for any property, which shows you the details, the development analysis, GDV, etc., what your return on investment is, the breakdown of all the details, and it can be done for different types of reports. I think this is the one we were actually just trying to look. So this is the valuation report we just did. It allows you to get the report quickly. You can add your own branding here. You can even white label these reports, by the way. So if somebody was interested to white labeling this and offering to your customers and add your own custom colors. So all of that is also possible and quite popular with our clients. Yeah, so I think that allows you to generate some of these deal packs. All of these deals which you have, you can actually generate within your My Account area, which actually allows you to see different types of deals, whether they're rent-to-rents, and you can actually do different types of analysis, service accommodation, HMOs, etc. And you can key in different price points. So it's not just about adding your property and then saying this is the thing. I mean, how many times have maybe you guys have come across whether some investor wants to see a best case, worst case sort of analysis? So it allows you to do all of that quite instantly, and you can actually change the occupancy levels if somebody wanted to do and see how this kind of changes the numbers. So that's kind of one of the other things. We do offer API solutions and other widgets. So if anybody wanted to actually have a branded valuation widget, for instance, on their website, that can also be possible. But I'm not sure if that's something, and if you are going to be interested in straight away. So I think I'll possibly skip that part, but feel free to ask that if you wanted to. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna be, before I open to the questions, I just wanted to talk about in terms of where we are heading as a company. I mean, we're looking at changing things quite significantly, or started off with servicing investors and small property businesses, but we're now in collaboration partnership talks with some of the largest companies in the country. And we really want to be making the one-click property purchase a reality. Or when that happens, I mean, it may not be immediately, but it's a step in the right direction where we're actually bringing in all the solutions together. That would be involving, like I said, partnerships and collaborations. We're not looking to do everything in the whole world ourselves. And as a business, we're in the middle of a funding round for our next phase of development. And we're doing some equity fundraising about that. And yeah, we offer everything in a 14-day free trial. So anybody who's actually looking or haven't already signed up, they can feel free to try it out and play with it, switch between plans, etc. within the 14-day free trial. And I think we guys or our team can be happy to actually provide you guys any help we can. And then you feel free to book a meeting to discuss any specific points you have. And I think happy for you to ask any questions now if you wanted to. I think now we are happy to actually discuss any pain points, etc. you might have. So I think I'm just gonna yeah, if anybody has any questions, feel free to unmute yourself, and you can actually be asking. So it would be a good time to do that. Cool. Yeah, if there aren't many questions, you can always reach out to us via chat or email. So we have a contact us page, so you can feel free to ask. I can see Joe. Hi, Joe. How are you doing?
I'm good, thanks. I'm good. I didn't actually have a specific question. You invited me to unmute myself, so I thought, why not? So I'll just say hello to everyone.
Oh, good.
Hello, Joe. How are you doing?
Yeah, very good, Rishi. Very good.
Good.
Cool. So yeah, I think obviously some of these things, what we find is it all depends where you are with your property journey as a business, as an individual, because some people say, oh, this is great. They do this all the time, so that they can kind of relate to it very quickly, while some of the others take a little bit of time playing with it and trying to understand, because they've never seen something which would do some of these things. So it can take a little bit of getting used to, but we're trying to be better at our communications, and our team have started to actually do one-to-one demos to help people understand, bring them up to speed, and which is why we have our pricing model is quite flexible in terms of you can actually switch around with different packages. We always suggest, if anybody wants to try the free trial, you can go for a higher plan, and then you can always come down to the right plan within the 14 days. Most people tend to, sometimes anyways, not most, but some people tend to go for the most basic plan, which is meant to be trying to offer a low-cost solution for anybody who's just looking as an ad hoc basis or on an occasional basis. But it will be restricting some features like PDFs, etc. And obviously the way the system works is on a usage base. So effectively, if you are planning to use it quite a bit, then we suggest go for a slightly higher plan. And there is no charges if you basically were to do what you needed to do and then cancel the plan as well. So that's also an option, but we don't want to limit that. By the way, we do have a listing option, which I possibly did not clarify. So you can actually list the properties with us. They can be made available to the rest of the Property Deals Insight customer base, or you can keep it private to your customer base as well. So if you were to actually list the properties here to generate your deal packs for any sales, properties, rent-to-rent, property or development appraisals, you can generate that and make it available in the deal finder, or choose to make it private. So in that case, it will only be visible to anybody you will share it with. So some sourcing companies do that, where they generate these deal packs and then they will only share it with their own investors. And as I was showing earlier, you can actually create like shareable links, which will be a bit like this, which allows you to add your own branding if you wanted to. And this can go to the investors. And the way it does is it actually creates like a point in time snapshot for things. So if you were to actually change, say, let's say the fees you're charging them, or even like how much money you're going to be required to spend on a certain project, that's what the investors will see basically. So it allows you to, saves you time and money in terms of having to spend a lot of time trying to create different analyses and different price points. And this was also shareable via like a quick share buttons, etc. So you can actually have it sent to various people within your Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, or just via emails. And any deals which you list here, the investors can directly contact you using the Reserve Now button. So, and this is again for deals which you make available to anybody, whether it's the link you sent or it's actually available to the thousands of customers base which we have on our system, and how we send them all the deals. So it's possible, and we don't get involved in the individual deals, so there's no commission, etc., which we charge on any properties which you buy or sell here. You're only paying a membership fee for the platform, and you might be selling £1 million portfolio. We don't get a penny out of that. So it's all how you deal with it. Cool. So yeah, I think, I don't know, Garrett, you said you're doing development projects, etc. So if there's anything you have to ask, feel free to check. Otherwise,
yeah, I think the big thing for us is more knowing sales costs, end of value, sometimes more than finding the deals. It's always a tricky thing to, you know, to get comparables and stuff sometimes. So anything that can help with that's
sure.
always good.
And what kind of projects are these?
Mainly one-off houses, but also stuff that's sort of, usually we do stuff under the kind of threshold for affordable housing, so it's usually sort of under 9 homes, brand new stuff. But also refurbs, sometimes it's sort of West London refurbs in Kensington and stuff, trying to get figures for that as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, so I think absolutely. So in that case, you can always be playing around with the valuation feature where you can actually key in the details of the property. I mean, we have a flip analysis component within the thing as well. However, if you wanted to actually create some different analysis, for instance, as I mentioned earlier, you can actually specify the property condition. So if you're buying a rundown property, doing some work to that property or adding some square footage to that, you can add in the key details here and then essentially generate the upgrade, like after sort of work sort of valuation, to actually get an idea on what the deal would look like. And again, depends on whether you're doing it for yourself or was to send it as a proposal to an investor. You can actually show them some of those numbers as well, right? So it does kind of allow you to play with that, and how you use the system. It all depends on kind of how you normally invest and what kind of deal you're looking to create. I mean, again, like I said in my presentation, deals could mean different things to different people, right? I mean, basically, a lot of you can, within property, you can actually do loads. You can be doing JVs. You can even just kind of find the opportunities here and then use them as your source properties, brand it again as your own deal packs, etc. So that's something the platform allows you to do. But yeah, I mean, I'd be happy for you to play with it, try and see how it goes, and then if you do hit any issues, we are happy to actually do get on a one-to-one discussion and go through things as well. Cool.
That's good.
Yeah, I think before we look to wind up, I mean, one of the things I would mention is obviously this is a very busy week, so you might actually receive a few emails from us. I'm also a speaker in the Negotiator Expo and conference in a couple of days, where we're talking about how we're helping estate agents and other PropTech businesses. And we're also in the awards categories, multiple categories in there. Hopefully, fingers crossed, so we might get some. And I think the other key thing is, Black Friday and stuff. So there will be Black Friday discounts kicking off very soon. So if you guys are thinking of, I mean, if you're not already on the emailing list, feel free to actually join that. So you know the Black Friday discounts kick in. And we are happy to kind of make an exception for any of you guys looking to kick off to try and share the special Black Friday discount codes. Feel free to ping us. Okay. Cool. So hopefully this has been somewhat useful, and I would be looking forward to receiving some info from you guys, feedback from you guys. Just stop reading a message from Joe. Well, yeah, I think it's great. It's not as good as what Joe said, but it is not too far off as well, actually. So just letting you know, we're doing a half price deal for the 4 days of Black Friday. So yeah, I think if anybody is interested, as I say, we can share the code, which is only meant to go live on Friday. But yeah, feel free to ping us. Cool. All right, thanks guys, and thanks for joining, Paul. See you.
Thank you everyone.
Thank you. It's fine.
See ya.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks, guys.